What the fuck is up, everyone? Prison Meddler here, back with another brand new album review. Today, I will be reviewing Bleeding Through's new album, 9, which released February 14, 2025. As you may know, this is the band's very first album in almost 7 years. They finally came back with a new album, even though they released an EP back in 2022. But they finally released a new album after releasing some singles over the last 2 years. Even though they only released 3 singles. The first single, which is Wartime, which was released almost 2 years ago, which is a very long time for a single to release before an album. But then again, I'm glad they came back with a new album. I was kind of thinking, don't tell me they broke up again, because they actually did break up in 2014, but they came back 3 years later. Even though they temporarily reunited in 2016 as a one-off show, but that's it. But they started leaving out secrets, saying that the rumors that the band is returning and such, and it turned out the rumors were true. They came back in 2017. They said it was reformed, but nothing was planned until now they revealed their new album came out. The previous album came out in 2018. And band is officially reformed. That's their last album. Love Will Kill All. And then almost 7 years later, they released this new album. And I have to say, with this new album, I'm really digging it. I'm really digging it. I like how they added something fresh on there. Like, they really did something new with this album. Like, they added Marta Peterson, who is the keyboardist, on vocals, as co-lead vocals on several songs, which, as far as I remember, I don't remember any of the previous album that had her on vocals. I think this is the very first time to feature on vocals, and she was great on vocals, I'm not gonna lie. I never thought she could sing, but she can. Like, throughout the album, all you hear is crunching riffs, a lot of great drumming, especially with the blast beats and double bass and all that. Killer riffs, too, and it's got some great orchestral sound to it in the background from Marta Peterson as well. As I may know, they're a metalcore band with symphonic elements throughout the band's discography. You hear a lot of symphonic elements, and the band does feature a whole lot. Throughout this album, it did feature a lot. It's got some really great riffs. It has some great clean vocals from Brendan as well. I can't pronounce his last name. Let me see. Brandon. I can't pronounce his last name, but you get what I mean. Shipati. If I pronounce that right, I'm not quite sure. I'll say Shipati. I might pronounce it wrong, but fuck it. I don't care. I don't care if y'all get mad if I pronounce. Who cares if I say his name wrong? Whatever. I mean, Marta's singing was phenomenal, especially with the song "Lost in Isolation," which is a really solid chorus she did. She contributed a lot in that song, and it's got some deathcore elements too. On this album, like a little bit of some deathcore elements, like Our Brand is Chaos and Hell Destruction. Those songs sound a whole lot like... Some of these songs kind of has this Carnifex feel to it. And throughout the album, some of these tracks do have some really killer solos. I'm not gonna lie. That's some really, kick-ass solos, too. I think, both guitarists are new to... I think this is the first album to have both John Arnold and Brandon Richard. I don't know who did the solos here, but they did great on the solos. I'm not gonna lie. I never heard of those guys, but they were great on solos. No joke. And if I'm not mistaken, is this the first band to have 6 people, or is it the last 5? I'm gonna have to check. Hold on. No, never mind. I'm wrong. No, it's usually 6 people. Okay, I think it's their last album that only has 5 members. Okay. Yeah, I know it has a different lineup. I guess that's probably why it caused a hold up with the albums. But anyway, yeah, they were great on the riffs and the solos. I do enjoy the solos on several parts. They're pretty technical on the solos. I'm no joke. I kind of like a lot of the riffs, especially from the song "Dead But So Alive." It kind of has this wham guitar sound. It kind of like something from this mathcore sound. It kind of sounds like a little something you hear from the Dillinger Escape Plan or something like that, or Car Bomb. I kind of like this. It kind of sounds like it's something you haven't heard from Bleeding Through before. And it kind of mixes in with a chorus that kind of sounds like you hear from a different song, which I kind of like that brief transition from it. And it's got some cool breakdowns too. Like, it has a lot, and it pretty much kicks ass as a whole lot. And then Last Breath, which is basically the interlude, which is the half of the album, which is a nice interlude solo from Marta Peterson. She did great on that. It's mainly a symphonic interlude. And then we move on to Path of Our Disease, where she did great on the vocals as well, on the clean. She only did the clean vocals. It's got some killer riffs and such. Like, I dig it. I mean, the song lead single, or second to last track, Wartime, kind of introduces the Marta's clean vocals, which is really great. It kind of fits her style too, with the symphonic sound, especially the fact that she's a keyboard on it. And the first single was released in 2013, which was released April 2013. A single that was released almost 2 years ago, and it took almost 2 years for a new album. Okay? But anyway, yeah, really solid track. It's got some gothic elements to it. It kind of has some gothic elements, especially from her vocals as well. Kind of little sounds like something from Lacuna Coil a bit. And speaking of Lacuna Coil, they also released a new album that same day as Bleeding Through's new album. I'm not sure if I will review that. I don't know. But anyway, back to it. And then we got the closing track, Unholy Amada, which starts off with this like this punch riffing guitar riffs. There's no clean vocals on that track, but it's got this nice metalcore. It's got deathcore elements from my ears too. And basically the rest of the song ends up with a nice melodic solo from the duo. From, I don't know if it's one person or doing solos back and forth. I don't know. I forgot their names now. They're new to the band, so never heard of those guys, but they did great on the solos. It's got some nice orchestral sound, too, from Marta Peterson as well. She was great on it. It's got some great drum work, too. It's got some elements like deathcore, black metal, and such. It sounds like something, as from the deathcore sounding, I mean, I wouldn't say you sound like something from Carnifex. I mean, as for the other deathcore sound, it kind of sounds like Carnifex. This one, not really, because Carnifex doesn't really sound that melodic like this song does. But that's where you hear a lot with this. It has like this melodic metalcore sound. There's no clean vocals in that track, like I said before, but it does sound really good. I like how they close it. It starts with a solo, and it has this great epic sound from the symphonics, and this song just pretty much fades out. And Brendan, I forgot his fucking last name. He did some solid, clean vocal works on the song, especially with the more melodic track, Emery. He did great on the clean vocals on the chorus as well. It kind of has this radio-friendly Devin Townsend sound a bit. I mean, it's kind of like a duo with him and Marta Peterson. They kind of sung it together. She was kind of a background vocals on this track, but they sound great together on the chorus. The only track I'm really not quite feeling here would probably be I Am Resistance. It kind of has this a lot fast sound to it. I think it's probably my least favorite track on that album, I Am Resistance. I don't know, it's just something that I'm just not quite feeling. I guess it's probably the clean vocals during the fast part. I mean, you hear more harsh vocals on it, but it kind of sounds like you hear a little bit of clean vocals in the background, but not too much. And personally, I just don't think it fits, especially on the verses. You hear a little bit of clean vocals from Murda in the background, and I think they should just delete that and have it all harsh vocals and leave the clean vocals in the chorus. It kind of ruins it a bit, but I'm not saying it's a bad track, but it's definitely my least favorite off the album. I mean, it's not a bad track. It's just, again, you hear a bit of clean vocals on the verses on I Am Resistance, and they could cut all that. They just leave the screaming alone on on the verses. They could have cut out the clean vocal, a little bit of clean vocals on the verses, and I just don't think they fit in those sections. That's all. But again, it's just one song, so I'm not dissing it or anything. I'm gonna give this album a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a really good album. I think I like this a little bit more than their last album, Love Will Kill Law. I mean, I'm not quite sure if I do. I mean, I kind of like how they added something new with this album. Mainly Murda Peterson's vocals on here, which I don't remember her being on clean vocal. It's been a while since I went back to their discography, so I don't remember her singing at all until this album. So I may have to come back and probably do a review for every album besides their new one, because I am reviewing this album right now. So yeah, I definitely think it's a really good album. So there's that. I mean, if you love Bleeding Through, you will definitely enjoy this album. If you like metalcore or melodic metalcore in general, or you will definitely like this album for sure. I mean, again, Bleeding Through is definitely a heavier metalcore band than the other usual metalcore bands, to tell you the truth. Since this has this massive extreme sound to it with elements of melodeath and black metal and symphonic metal and such, it's a lot heavier than their average metalcore bands. That's for sure. So yeah. Again, 3.5 out of 5. Really good album. I definitely enjoy it from start to finish. So yeah. Alright guys, so that is my review for Bleeding Through's new album 9. What are your thoughts on this album? Do you like this album or do you not like this album? Let me know in the comments. So yeah guys, that is the review. Subscribe for more content and all that bullshit. And I'm going to go ahead and get the fuck out of here. So I'm out.